In the beginning of 2026, at Beijing's most sensitive anti-corruption meeting, the strangest scene since the founding of the People's Republic happened. Air Force Lieutenant General Chen Guoqiang, who had helped Xi Jinping clean up the rocket force and take down military tigers like Li Shangfeng, Wei Fenghe, and Li Yuchao, completely disappeared from the fifth plenary session of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. Out of 133 members, only 120 attended, and among the 13 empty seats, 10 were from military leaders, with Chen Guoqiang on the list. He was once Xi's most trusted executioner, but now he has been moved from the center of power to the National University of Defense Technology. At the end of 2025, he was removed from his job, and in January 2026, he missed the plenary session, which almost confirms he is being checked by the Military Discipline Commission. The turning point points to July 2024. After Xi Jinping seemed to have a stroke and went to the hospital during the third plenary session, the style of the cleanup changed suddenly. Miao Hua fell, He Weidong went down, more than 1,300 officers were involved, and almost all of the over 70 generals Xi personally promoted were wiped out. In 2025, the Military Discipline Commission filed cases against 64 high-level generals, setting a record since 1949. In 3 years, 131 people fell. When the people who did the cutting start to fall one by one, this knife has started to hurt its own people. In 2026, will this self-killing spread to the level of standing committee members? Has the countdown to the end of Xi's army begun? From January 12th to 14th, 2026, Beijing held the fifth plenary session of the 20th Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. This is one of the most important meetings each year in the CCP's anti-corruption field, showing the top leaders' latest views on party discipline and corruption problems. The meeting report shows that out of 133 CCDI members, only 120 attended. The absence rate is as high as 10%. Looking back at history, at the third plenary session of the CCDI in January 2024, only one person was absent. At the fourth plenary session in January 2025, only 2 people were absent. But this time, the number of absentees jumped to 13. More key is that among these 13, 10 are from the military, making up most of the absentees. The military members in the CCDI are few to begin with, only 22. This kind of large-scale military absence is very rare in the history of high-level meetings since the founding of the CCP. And among these 10 absent military leaders, the most eye-catching is without doubt Air Force Lieutenant General Chen Guoqiang. He is not a normal leader, nor a side role, but a CCDI standing committee member, full-time Deputy Secretary of the Military Discipline Commission, and Deputy Director of the Military Commission Supervision Commission. He is the number 2 person who handled so-called anti-corruption in the military for Xi Jinping. In other words, this person who used to be in charge of cleaning up others disappeared from the party's highest-level anti-corruption meeting. Not only that, he might even have been tied to the operating table already. A person who once swung the knife. Why did he become a ghost under the knife himself? This might be the first question everyone who watches CCP politics wants to ask. To understand the weight of Chen Guoqiang's event, we must first clear up his power position. In the CCP military's anti-corruption system, the ones who really hold the power to handle cases are not the well-known news spokespeople or symbolic figures, but the Military Discipline Commission and Military Commission Supervision System. And Chen Guoqiang is one of the few people standing at the center of power in this system. In his job ranks, he has 3 identities: CCDI Standing Committee Member, full-time Deputy Secretary of the Military Discipline Commission, and Deputy Director of the Military Commission Supervision Commission. This means he can join in the highest-level anti-corruption decisions and directly get involved in the actual work of big military cases. More important, after the 20th Party Congress and the several rounds of high-strength cleanups Xi Jinping did in the military, Chen Guoqiang always stood at the front line. After the 20th Party Congress, CCP leader Xi Jinping, who got a 3rd term, investigated 2 defense ministers Li Shangfu and Wei Fenghe, and the former Rocket Force commander Li Yuchao and other big military cases. And Chen Guoqiang was one of the key handlers in the special team. From this, we can see how much Xi Jinping trusted him. But when time came to July 2024, people outside were talking a lot about Xi Jinping suddenly having a stroke and falling during the third plenary session. From then on, the big cleanup in the military that Xi Jinping started changed style. In September 2024, this Chen Guoqiang, who had handled the Rocket Force big case for Xi Jinping, was quietly moved away from the CCP Military Discipline Commission and sent to Changsha, Hunan, to be political commissar of the National University of Defense Technology. On the surface, this looks like a flat move. But if you compare military ranks and levels, you will see the problem right away. Chen Guoqiang is a deputy theater-level lieutenant general, while the National University of Defense Technology is a full army-level unit, with the highest rank only major general. This means a leader who was originally higher than the school's principal and discipline secretary was placed in a position clearly lower than his old level. In the CCP system, this is both sending out and a hidden demotion. and also cutting off from the center of power. More than a year later, at the end of 2025, Chen Guoqiang was removed from his job as political commissar of the National University of Defense Technology, and he missed the fifth plenary session of the CCDI in January 2026. The signal sent out is even clearer. Chen Guoqiang is in trouble and very likely is being checked by the CCP Military Discipline Commission. Seeing this, some might think Chen Guoqiang's sending out might be his personal problem, whether involved in corruption, losing power inside, or replaced in power games. But what happened next shows this is not a single event, but a cleanup at the faction level. On November 28, 2024, CCP Military Commission Political Work Department Director Miao Hua suddenly fell. Miao Hua's identity made this an earthquake-level event. He's not only the top person in charge of the military's political work system, but also the actual handler for Xi Jinping in arranging people and cleaning factions in the military. Miao Hua is Xi Jinping's actual handler in military personnel and political work. During the 2015 military reform, Miao Hua was the executor for Xi Jinping's large-scale shuffling of high-level leaders. Chen Guoqiang's fast rise depended on this Zi Miao Chen master-servant chain. After Miao Hua became director of the Military Commission Political Work Department, Chen Guoqiang's career rose quickly. In 2018, Chen Guoqiang became director of the Political Work Department of the Strategic Support Forces Aerospace System Department. In March 2021, he became Deputy Political Commissar and Director of the Political Work Department of the Central Theater Command. In August of the same year, he entered the Military Discipline Commission as full-time Deputy Secretary, becoming the number 2 in military anti-corruption. This speed fits the fast promotion of Xi Jinping's people. Commentator Wang Yukan thinks Xi Jinping, Miao Hua, Chen Guoqiang are in a master-servant relationship on one line. And when Xi Jinping wanted to fix the rocket force and clean up Li Shangfu, Wei Fenghe, and Li Yuchao, Chen Guoqiang became the most important handler in the rocket force big case. And this set of handy closed-loop operations changed with Xi Jinping's health getting worse. In July 2024, during the CCP 20th Third Plenary Session, news came out that Xi Jinping suddenly had a stroke and went to the hospital. From that moment, the cleanup style changed suddenly. In September 2024, Chen Guoqiang was quietly moved away from the Power Center Military Discipline Commission and became political commissar of the National University of Defense Technology in Changsha, Hunan. The National University of Defense Technology is a full Army-level unit, with its principal and discipline secretary both full Army-level major generals. But Chen Guoqiang himself is a deputy major theater-level lieutenant general, clearly a level higher. This move is not a flat one, but a typical sending out plus hidden demotion, sending a strong signal that Beijing's top has doubts about him. 2 months later, on November 28, 2024, Xi's close military friend Miao Hua suddenly fell. Overseas and former Professor Yuan Hongbing says after Miao Hua was isolated and checked, he went into a crazy state, not sleeping for 24 hours and wildly reporting others. On the first day, he wrote materials involving over 80 people. It's said that by around the 2025 CCP2 sessions, Miao Hua and his 3 secretaries had confessed over 1,300 officers involved, including active and retired generals, lieutenant generals, and civilian staff, almost all with problems of giving benefits. According to CCP Discipline Commission case procedures, the Military Discipline Commission likely found problems of benefit giving between Chen Guoqiang and Miao Hua during Miao Hua's secret check stage. This might be why Chen Guoqiang was sent out early in September 2024, a kind of protective demotion. However, when Miao Hua fully opened his mouth, Chen Guoqiang could no longer escape. At the end of 2025, the political commissar job at the National University of Defense Technology was taken by former Deputy Political Commissar Major General Zhang Zhan. This means Chen Guoqiang has been officially removed. In January 2026, he missed the 5th plenary session of the CCDI, almost confirming his fate of being checked by the Military Discipline Commission. Chen Guoqiang's disappearance is not a single case, but the tip of a bigger storm. On January 16, 2026, the Central Military Commission Discipline Inspection Commission held an expanded meeting. CCTV pictures show on the stage only Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Shengmin was there, and in the first row below, only new General Central Theater Command Commander Han Xingyan and 11 lieutenant generals, compared to the Military Discipline Commission expanded meeting in January 2025. At that time, 14 generals attended, including He Weidong, Zhang Shengmin, and other heavyweights. In just 1 year, 13 generals have disappeared. Besides the already announced fallen or seriously violated He Weidong, Miao Hua, former Military Commission Political Work Department Executive Deputy Director He Hongjun, former Military Commission Joint Operations Command Center Executive Deputy Director Wang Shubin, former Eastern Theater Command Commander Lin Xiangyang, and other 9 generals. There are also many caught former Rocket Force commanders. Also, the general promotion ceremony in December 2025 had only very few generals attend, 16 fewer than the year before. At the fourth plenary session of the 20th Central Committee in October last year, 22 General Central Committee members were absent, most not yet announced fallen, but already missing. Even more shocking are the numbers. Wang Yukun, after checking CCDI released data, found, last year, 64 high-level leaders were filed by the Military Discipline Commission. This breaks the record since 1978 reform and opening, even since 1949 founding. From the 20th Congress to now, 3 years, the Military Discipline Commission filed 131 high-level leaders, including 33 in 2023 plus 34 in 2024 plus 64 in 2025. Of course, this number does not include many not filed but removed or early retired. The 3 waves of cleanup paths are clear. 2023 Rocket Force Nest Case, 2024 Miaohua Big Case, 2025 He Huaidong Big Case. By now, the military direct line that Xi Jinping personally, exceptionally, and super fast promoted has almost been wiped out. All 4 Rocket Force commanders fell. All 3 big secretaries in the military had problems. Xi's left and right arms in the military He Huaidong and Miaohua fell one after another. When the handlers fall one by one, the core problem is no longer who is corrupt, but who still holds the knife. Senior media person Guoqiang thinks the CCP's anti-corruption big power might have shifted to the Huwen line. She says, Xi Jinping has already stepped back from specific governing after the third plenary session. Xi now plays more like a political watcher, not an actual manager. This role change only happens in 2 situations. One is power forced to give up. The other is body and energy no longer allow high-strength work. Key proof appears at the 5th plenary session of the CCDI. In the past, when Li Shi hosted the meeting, he always stressed Xi Jinping put clear demands on anti-corruption work. But this time in Li Shi's speech, he did not mention Xi Jinping's specific demands at all. This is seen as a big symbol. US-based commentator Chen thinks Xi Jinping has lost the right to put demands to the CCDI because now the fallen are all Xi Jinping's people. The fallen generals in the military are all Xi's army. Xi personally promoted over 70, and over 70 fell. And in the party and government system, the fallen are also ones Xi personally promoted. Independent producer Li Jun says, this shows that now the overall demands and goals should not be in Xi Jinping's control. So Li Shi does not say, Xi Jinping also did not say, because there are no goals. The CCDI now has changed to Hu Wen's surname. Li Jun guesses more. This year, Xi's army might face more full cleanup. Last year, clean to Politburo members. This year, will it go to standing committee? Very worth watching. Since Xi Jinping came to power, anti-corruption became his most important political tool. The number of mid-level cadres investigated exceeds the total of Deng, Jiang, Hu 3 generations. The number of high-level military leaders fallen exceeds the total generals fallen in internal wars. External wars. Cultural revolution since CCP army founding. And Chen Guoqiang from Rocket Force big case handler to suspected being checked by Military Discipline Commission is the clearest picture of this tragedy. But the collapse-style corruption in 2025 made this self-revolution turn to hurting itself. The more you fight, the more there are. The more you fight, the worse. In 2025, at least 31 billion yuan corrupt officials involved amount 7.75 billion yuan. This does not include military corruption amounts because not public. At the same time, Xi Jinping also fell into an island trap. The military direct line he personally promoted almost all fell. He himself in the military almost became a lone commander. In 2026, will this anti-corruption knife keep turning inward? Will it burn to the Politburo Standing Committee level? Even point to the highest power itself? Chen Guoqiang is just the first card turned over, and this deck is far from all shown.